can't beat us, join us, please bring your coinage. We sing 3-pointers, money shots, all net, all vets. Bums we not, jet skiing in them sunny spots. With women edible like gummy drops. Dummy stop, dummy stop. No weapon form can intercept a storm. Once my intellect is on, I'm projecting on magnetic fields and interact with blacks with athletic bills. I'm all about growth and development like residents of Ebbets Fields. Not to choose between woo and chew. We wanna line them colors up like a Rubik's Cube and fade to black, yeah, the truest hue. When you say the black man is God, who you alluded to? The usual Clarence 13X, a worthy guess. The words expressed come from the word in flesh. Elijah M, the NOI versus Leviathan. Messiah sent from the heavenly branches. 7 P's from since G-Dub cut down the cherry tree. In the wilderness of North Mex, and we flossing death and forced aggression, or forced perception, forced protection, or forced confessions. It's all a lesson.
The sorcerers from Corsica, killer tonics, sticks and drums like the Philharmonic Orchestra. You niggas still playing harmonicas from officers, fabric softener. Jive turkeys popping 5 perkies, playing with keys, the Scotch stores type. For that soft white, we could've caught life, just being forthright. First class on my 4th flight, popping out like Fortnite. Every night we lit like Porsche lights. The meek shall inherit the earth, oh yeah, the scorched type. And these niggas, they some hoes in these streets. Me, I'm 10 toes in these streets. They lost their souls, niggas got holes in their feet. Shit, I'm just worried about the craft and how to perfect it. Not worried about the craft, yeah, that's out of perspectives. Focus on the chip like I'm Robert Kraft, and then how to protect it. It's the waves of the oceans. Get to the money, nigga, save your emotion. Descendant of the slaves in the graves in the oceans. Mastermind that the waves is in motions. These niggas, they addicted to the folly, addicted to that molly. Making me a movie, them sticks made of holly. I'm Dr. Manhattan, sitting on top of Manhattan. When I get all 5 rings, snap my fingers and pop up on satin. Dressed in all black, yeah, drop top the Phantom. Best.
TV. To this day! To this day!
Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Welcome to another episode of Third Eye Thursdays. You are now rocking with the best. Yes, this is your host for the evening, Brother Red Pillar. And that song that you just heard, ladies and gentlemen, that is the Theta Waves featuring the twin pillars, red and blue. All right, check it out. Let me know what your favorite line is. And let's go right into the roll call because we have a special show. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a powerful show for y'all. This was going to be a certified classic. I could already feel it. You know what I'm talking about? So get your pens and your pads because this one right here, we're going to be taking notes, ladies and gentlemen. I told you, I promised y'all. Remember when we were saying that we were going to bring about the sistren, the daughters, the goddesses, to bring the information about the healing in quote unquote plant-based medicines. And that is what we will be doing tonight. We did bring you our sisters last week that were dealing with the Reiki and the energy work and whatnot. And now we're going to be dealing with more of a deeper, more ancestral, more quantum type of healing. So yes, y'all are in for a plate of food. Get ready to eat it up. You know what I mean? Food for thought is definitely being served tonight. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's get to the roll call. Let's see who is in the building. I know Cafunia is in the building. Shout out to Jersey City. All right. Shout out to Ohio in the building. All right. Tulsa, Oklahoma. Salute to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Salute to London, England. In it. San Jose in the building. We got we got Dallas, Texas up in this thing. All right. Gainesville, Florida. New Jerusalem in this bit. KC, Kansas City, Missouri. We have Charleston. We got Bangkok, Thailand in the building. Kansas City in the building. Lake Charles up in this thing. Greensboro, what's happening? Baltimore, all right? Baltimore. We got Houston in the building, upstate New York, 305 in the building, New Bedford in the building. Salute to everybody pulling up. Okay, make yourselves comfortable. Mableton, what's happening? Kissimmee, Florida in the building. Peace to the Harlem family. Peace to the New York family. Peace to the Boston family. Salute. Salute to Newark, New Jersey and the thing. San Antonio. We got Omaha, Nebraska. Salute to Omaha, Nebraska. Ireland. Hey, mate. We got Ireland in the building. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So it's all good. We are here. We're going to let the family keep coming in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my guests to the stage. I don't want them to be waiting long. I have to be a good host tonight. You know what I'm talking about? So we're going to open up the floor. Later on in the show, we'll be doing a new segment. We have a bunch of clips lined up, but we're going to open up the show in third eye fashion. This is Third Eye Thursdays, so we're going to bring some third eye guests into the building. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you our two sisters that will be doing a powerful event this strong in no next strong in okay in Florida, the land of the flowers. We're gonna build on this. All right, so without any further ado, I bring to you Angelic, Alchemy, Sister Amani, and Sister Ariel in the building. Peace, y'all. Greetings.
Peace,
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 peace, greetings, peace and love.
Peace
peace
and
and blessings.
love.
Thank
Peace
you
and
for
love.
having us on the show.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone, for joining.
No doubt. Thank you for having me. You know what I'm saying? I'm honored to have you two here. And we've been building. We were building backstage. You know what I'm talking about? We they was like, we not live. I'm like, nah, not yet. We was having a whole live conversation. I'm like, it is not recording yet. So real quick, I want y'all to introduce yourselves to the family. Let them know who is Angelic Alchemy, who is Sister Ariel, and who is Sister Amani.
I am Ariel. They call me the Archangel or the Angelic Alchemist. I am the mother of Angelic Alchemy, which is a brand that caters to people who are interested in ancestral tools for quantum transformation.
Excellent, excellent. Yes, Sister Amani.
My name is Amani. I'm a yogini and medicine woman. My brand is called The God's Rose. We do ceremonies. And we are partnering with our beautiful sister Ariel with Angelic Alchemy for just a few, ceremonies and things. We do a lot of work together.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I do want to preface that I was in ceremony with Sister Amani a few weeks ago, I think. Well, yeah, it felt like the other day. And
Hmm.
yes, I want to say thank you for holding space for me. It was a beautiful, beautiful ceremony. Even though I was at the tail end of it, but it was definitely worth every single moment. I'm still processing and integrating from that ceremony. So
Yeah,
salute.
no, we appreciate you coming through. That was out in that down in Atlanta.
Yes.
Every ceremony feels like it's just the energy is still like going through my bones too. So even when you just spoke about it, it was like I felt that energy that was cultivated at that ceremony come through. So I
Yes,
appreciate
yes. It was very powerful, very powerful.
Yeah, I heard it was
Um,
fire.
huh?
I heard it was fire.
Yes, 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 indeed. Well, you two, let's get right into it. Let's talk about the upcoming ceremony that is taking place, and let's speak about before we get into the actual particulars of the ceremony. I do want to, I want to be responsible. I don't want, we're on this platform and we're speaking to hundreds of people, and I don't want to assume that everybody is fully aware of what ceremony is, what it's meant for, why it is and what it even looks like. So before we even go into the particulars of what the ceremony is going to be about, could we just briefly build with the family as to what is the importance of ceremony, where does ceremony come from, and what does it look like?
So ceremony is life. I'll start with that. Like ceremony is life, but medicine ceremony or a plant ceremony is a time and space where we get together, we gather, we might make libations, we set our intention, and we commune with a plant technology, right? Something that can help us move forward into different realms, different dimensions of
Yes.
being. It allows us to really help sit. It's a time where we create, to sit with ourselves and to really see internally. It can get much deeper than that, Ariel, if you want to explain on another level.
Yeah, ceremony is beautiful. There's different types of approaches to ceremonial work. Some people step into the space for healing. Some people step into the space for transformation.
Yeah.
Some people step into the space for resurrection. This ceremony that we're going to be hosting next weekend is going to be more of a workshop, because we're going to be doing a series of different things. We're going to be doing breath work. We're going to be doing yoga. We're going to be doing fire talks and bringing back that ancient technology where our ancestors would sit around the fire, our elders would sit around the fire, and they would tell stories of empowerment to remind us of bravery and all of the higher attributes, so that we can fine tune and activate these higher attributes of our spirit.
Yes.
So a lot of it is also about wealth attunement, tapping into these wealth realms and anchoring in these higher light codes of wealth, abundance, power, and prosperity and ancestral remembrance. So these are some of the things that I like to particularly focus on, because I think there's an overzealous focus on healing and not enough focus on oversoul embodiment, omnipresence, resurrection, again, wealth and prosperity and all of these things. We don't want to throw parasite parties or,
Right.
pity parties. You see, I don't do pity parties. So we come together and we tend to go up in our frequency really high,
Right.
and we celebrate, and we come together communally, just like they would do in church, but more in a ancestral way.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And the elements are very instrumental in ceremony. Fire, water, air, and the earth. Can you
Sound as
break
well. Sound
sound
healing.
as well? Yes, sound. Can
Mhm.
you the sonics? Can you break that down? How the elements play a part? And I also want to add on, while I do mention that, because you brought up technology, right? And it's one of the, I dabble in technology in both realms, right? And I was bringing this up the other day, that the artificial technology or artificial intelligence, I had to remind the family that, you can't go in the ocean with your phone. You can't go and do libations with your electronics on you. Electronics does not adhere to the four elements, right? When I was at the ceremony in Atlanta, I had my phone out and it overheated. It said it was getting too hot. The sun shut it down. So it doesn't, the same way that we are built for the sun, we get more powerful in the sun, we get charged up in the sun. The phone shuts down in the sun. When you get in the water, you get electrocuted if you have electronics. You cannot function with electronics inside of the earth because the Wi-Fi signal would get blocked. So ancestral intelligence, technology that is of the ancestors that comes from within us. Could we make the distinction, and could we speak on the importance of activating real intelligence and ancestral intelligence before we even get in touch, or before we begin to speak about the wonders of artificial technology?
Yeah, I could definitely speak to that. What I'll say is that all of the technology and all of the ancestral intelligence is within us. It's all in our DNA. So we just have to activate our remembrance, and we'll come back online with that information. But it's a choice, it's a conscious choice, because with that choice comes responsibility. At times it comes with resistance because there's a strong um, agenda towards those type of vibrations in this type of light code system that we're
Yeah.
in. So you have to be willing to be able to traverse that, knowing that there's possible challenges that come with that, but you're built for that. So that's one thing I'll say. But it's a beautiful thing when you can tap into, like you were saying, the elements. I know you mentioned what are these elements. We are the elements, you know.
Mm,
Ashe. Mm-hmm.
okay. Okay.
When you look at the even on a basic level, the human anatomy, we have all the elements. We have
Within
fire,
it.
you
Right.
know, that's why we have
Or
heat in our body. We have, you know, air. That's our spirit. That's, you know, what keeps us
right.
grounded
The
and
breath.
anchored to this
Right.
reality. The flesh is the earth, you know. We come from the mother, which is the earth, you know.
Right.
um on the physiological level. And then you have water. Of course, the body's 80+% water. So,
Right.
and then you have ether. That's the higher essence of you. So we
Fact.
are the elements, and the elements are our ancestors as well. So everything is everything.
Excellent. Excellent. In my last journey in Colombia with grandma, I was told I was grounded by the medicine. It actually put me in the soil, right? I had on all white and it was like, nah, you finna lay in this dirt. You finna lay in this soil. And the message from Pachimama was that you from whence you came is whence you were gonna return.
Mm.
And it was telling me to loosen up on the division, right? It was like, look, we all come from the soil because I was there with 60 Europeans in the jungles of Colombia in Putumayo. I was with 50 Europeans. They were not even English speaking Europeans. I was with Spaniards, Portuguese, Israelis, right? And what was the other Romanians, right? So I was like, what I was feeling, I was very tense. And grandma was like, you are all from the dirt. And it put me it told me I couldn't even walk. It literally my legs turned into like bricks and I couldn't even get up. I was in the dirt, just laying there. You know what I mean? Had ants and everything all over me. But it was like, if you gonna flinch when an ant gets on you, then bro, you got a lot of work to do. You
Hmm.
got a lot of work to do. So I just let everything just get on me. And I just the soil started feeling so calm and soothing and everything. And it just all made sense. So yeah, the elements.
It sounds like a
Mhm.
you know, what was happening in your experience was a defragmentation, which is one of the first steps to omnipresence, you know, because once you get out of that state where everything is just, you know, separate, and you start to see yourself as a reflection of everything, and your connection to everything, then everything becomes one thing. And then that's the God force energy, which is omnipresence, that starts to show up in your field and how you present and how you're present.
Ashe. And the other part, when it comes to elements and us being the technology, is we'll bring it back to what you said about the phone, right? Your phone, first, your phone is a bunch of crystals, right?
Yeah,
It's
quartz.
still an earth-based technology, just that manipulated by man, right? So it's a
Facts.
bunch of crystals, but like you said, with the sun, it got heated up, right? With the water, it's not going to work. Your body, we everything is simulated from the human body first. We are the greatest technology that we have, right? So your body is a technology that works in a similar way. Too much air is not going to work right. Too much water, you're going to be all diluted, right? Too much fire, you'll burn yourself up. So sometimes when we ingest these other plants, these allies, these technologies, um, the ally will tell you, hey, like it did you, hey, you need more ground. You need to really ground yourself right now. You need to lay in the soil. You need to really become part of the earth right now because you have an imbalance somewhere else. So that's why sometimes people call it medicine, because these plants can also help you balance yourself. But because you are the technology. I should be able to
Yes,
tell Ariel, hey, da, 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 without having to get on my phone. I could use my phone as a tool if I'd like to, but at the end of the day, we are the technology.
Ashe.
definitely. I often ask people, I said, think about it. Before we had social media, before we could exchange pictures via our phone, you know, how did, because I'm from New York and I used to live in different states. So I literally would go out to like Miami. I would go out on a Miami night, right? And then the next day, I get on the phone with people from New York and they know everything I was doing in Miami the night before. And I didn't tell it to them. They know what I was wearing. They like, yeah, I heard you was doing this and this. And I was like, how did you know? So it just reminded me like, how were we literally, like we were literally communicating, sending images and all type of stuff. It wasn't just over the phone. We were literally transferring experiences and images and all type of things without social media, without IG, and I do feel that some of these the newer tools like the Instagrams and the Snapchats and all of that, it has somewhat weakened a little bit of, or I won't say weakened, but it's somewhat of a filter to our natural ESP powers and whatnot. However,
Mhm.
the TikTok generation, the Snapchat generation, they are beginning to embrace their powers even more. They're being activated via TikTok. The information on TikTok, seeing videos with sisters such as yourself, right? And the word manifestation has become almost a household thing in the Black community. Whereas I remember a few years ago when you brought up manifestation, they would treat it with some type of, it was almost a repellent. Like, what are you talking about? I remember crystals, sage, and all of these, burning Palo Santo and everything. Now that's almost like you're lame if you're not on that. You know what I mean? It's almost like you're like you're late if you don't know about this. Can y'all attribute as to this acceptance by Generation Z and the younger generations to spirituality and to just spirit work and things of that nature?
Mm. I mean, I feel like there's different souls that are incarnating at this time that are more open, and they call them sometimes star seeds,
Yes.
but they're here for a really powerful and divine purpose, and they're open to a lot of this new technology. They're fully submerged in the Aquarian age. We're integrating into the Aquarian age.
Right.
So it's definitely a different vibration, but it's for a beautiful purpose, and this is a part of the shift into higher consciousness, and the awakening, and the liberation that has already been foretold about what's coming that can't be stopped. They're a part of that. They play a role
Interesting.
there. Hmm.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think it's a like a give and a take, right? Because they have and we have so much access to so much quick information. When you bring up like things like TikTok and Instagram Reels, and they're getting a lot of information really, really quick. And like Ariel said, we have these star seeds who are able to um, decipher very
Hmm.
quickly because they have so much information, and they're it's almost like a I see it with our son Cairo. He's 6 years old, and he watches these videos, and he's able to decipher like this means this means this is
Yes.
fake, this is real, this is AI, this is, and because they have such a connection to spirit, they're able to see like what information is real and what isn't, and it's beautiful. That's all I have to say about their generation, is that it's beautiful that they have this access, but we also cannot let it be a crutch to them, because now it's our, like, it's up to us as the older figures to say, hey, yeah, you have that. Now see if you can get that information from a tree. See if what you
Mm.
got from the TikTok, what you heard from that person in China who's telling you this, what you heard from that person in Africa, from that person in Hawaii, from that person down the block who you don't even know. See if you can sit by this tree and connect to those roots and get the information from them that way and keep them sharp like that as well, you know?
Beautiful.
Indeed, indeed. Um, have you begin to notice that that younger generation that we speak of that are becoming aware of themselves and things of that nature, have they begin to embrace the medicines as well and begin to embrace the past life, you know, tapping into their past lives and things of that nature? Have people reached out to either one of you, like some of the younger generation?
Well, yeah, I mean, for me personally, I do these sacred plants with my family. So with the kids, we do it with the kids. And then some of the younger generations who's like kind of like recently graduated high school, they're very, very, very much into it. They're reaching out with questions. I'm not even giving them nothing. They're asking me like, hey, you know, I have this da 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 experienced this da 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 da. I feel like I'm something's calling me and I'm missing a message and what should I do? They're asking, they're inquisitive, they want to know. And so again, it's our role, I feel, to do our due diligence in our own work and do the meditations and do the yoga and sit with the plant and sit with spirit and see what we're supposed to be doing so that we are in a place of alignment where they can come to us and we have the right answers for them.
Now you brought up the little ones, the star seeds, the indigos, and you know the C19 babies. That's what they call them, right? The ones that are post C19. I have a 6-year old going on 16, and I got three. Right, I got three children, and this one that came through, I'm not gonna say that he's different than the other two, but like you said, his observation and the things he's able to see is a little bit different from his brother and sister and whatnot. Like his fearlessness. You feel me? My son doesn't is as if he doesn't see adults. He just sees he talks to his mother and me like, you know, like we're his peers, you know, and he asks certain questions and he tells me to do certain things. And I'm like, I beg your pardon. And he's like, nah, do that, you know, and I do it. I don't go against it. I do it because one of my master teachers, Dr. Phil Valentine, taught me. He said, look, the child is teaching the parent. It's not the
Okay.
other way around because there's no book on how to parent. Like the child, you know, the child doesn't need to know how to be a child. They naturally come and they know what to do. It's already pre-packaged in them. The parent, though, you're an adult learning to be a parent. You don't know how to be a parent. The child knows how to be a child. You feel me? The child is going to child regardless. Parents have to learn parenting because we don't naturally know that. Growing up as a young adult or a teenager, we have qualities of parental qualities that we probably could say, oh, my mom's did this for me, but we're not naturally parents. That's something that the child teaches you how to be either a better parent, a more effective parent, or the other way around. So what's up with these new children coming through as the teachers?
Well, the
Is
other thing
that
is
is
they're
that
the ancestors. Like they were in the
Yes.
ancestral realm, the most recent. We've been
right,
here on Earth getting indoctrinated with earthly shit, and they're coming straight with the knowledge, and a lot of our egos is like we want to tell them what to do, but really they're here coming with a lot of powerful information.
right.
And Amani, you should definitely speak on your recent experience with giving birth to that god and all the plant medicine, the ayahuasca. You know, we'd be sitting in ceremony and she would be, you know, she has a very special seed that just came through and he came through on a portal day. But
Ashe.
he loves ayahuasca, but he's a very ancient soul, ancient ancestral energy, and he's here to do some very powerful work.
And
Beautiful.
so my son, he's the grandfather energy. He came in on his grandfather's birthday on a
Wow.
anniversary of us doing a grandfather ceremony. We did a grandfather ceremony that day the year before. So he carries this powerful grandfather energy, and even when I just look in his eyes, like he's guiding me in what to do. So I would just reiterate what I said before. They're
Yes.
the teachers. Yeah.
Yes. And they see everything too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they see, and they're very, very, very aware of things. Like, even if you don't even think that they see it, they're like, I saw that, right? So
And
let's
these
get
these
into
new
this
kids are seeing on different realms too. Like sometimes you could see a certain look in their eye, and they're
Yes.
seeing like on different realms. It's
On that,
beautiful.
right, right.
Hmm.
For sure, for
Mm.
sure. You brought up grandma and you brought up grandfather, right?
Hmm.
I want to get into that, right? Because I had a beautiful experience with grandma, and I look forward to having an even more beautiful experience with the grandfather. So, can we break down to the family what exactly that means and why these quote unquote plant-based medicines even have these attributes? Like, why are we calling the Aya grandma and the Igbo grandfather and not mom and dad or auntie and uncle or Theo and tia and abuela?
Well, I'm just gonna touch on the part of the grandparent thing, and then I'll
Yes.
give it over to Amani because she's queen of Aya, as well as she's really good with Aboga too. But when you think about like your parents compared to your parents, a lot of times they're pretty knowledgeable and they've done a decent job parenting. Some of them make a lot of mistakes, of course, but then when you get to the grandparents, that's an older generation that basically they've been around the block a few times. So they're more
Experience, right?
gentle, they're more experienced, they're more wise, they're more compassionate. They know how to handle the grandchildren. Like the grandchildren usually, or the children usually have more respect for the grandparents than they actually do for the parents, because they could feel that ashe, they could feel that wisdom. They just know that they know how to handle them on a certain level to where they might disrespect their parents, but they're not going to disrespect their grandparents, because the grandparents come with a certain energy that they
Right.
just have a certain presence
Reverence.
and a
Yeah.
way of how they handle those children, because they're more ancient, they're older in this timeline. And ayahuasca and aboga, ayahuasca being the grandmother and people consider aboga the grandfather, um, are on that grandparent level, to where you're going to get more um deeper understanding and wisdom, as if it was that grandparent energy, with how that medicine, you go a lot further. It's really, really powerful in that way.
Yeah, for sure. Even when you said that, it's like you have Mother Earth, right? And some you'll have Father Earth because you have Geb in the Kemetic system where they'll call Geb the Father Earth, the Earth energy too. So you have Mother Earth, you have Father Earth, or you might say Father Son as well, right? And those are still things that are always with you. Your mother, your father, they're in the house with you. They're with you. The grandparents, that's a little something extra. You go see your grandparents. You're not doing ayahuasca every day, right? You're not doing a boga every day. You can't. So when Ariel was speaking, that just kind of came to me too. And then when it comes to like the feminine versus the masculine, Ariel, I
Yeah.
actually want to hear your perspective on this though, because of when you talk about iboga, the masculine versus the feminine balance of that.
Yes, I kind of felt like that was an open slot for Aboga to slide into the grandfather position, being
Right.
that I was already established as a grandmother. But Iboga, I see it as, to be truthfully honest with you, very feminine, however very androgynous, because it is a plethora of benevolent ancestral spirits that are both masculine and feminine, that live within that medicine, that
Mm-hmm.
can show themselves and help you, assist you, and work through it. Even a secret that I've channeled when I sat with Aboga and just connected with the spirit of Aboga and spoke to it. There's 12 alkaloids, 12 master alkaloids that Aboga is known for. One of them being ibogaine. A lot of people mistake Aboga for ibogaine. It's not the same thing. Ibogaine is an extract of Aboga. It's one of those 12 alkaloids. But
Right.
those 12 alkaloids really are 12 ancestral intelligences
Mm.
present within the medicine.
Ashe.
So the Western perspective of it is, well, these are 12 molecules or 12, isolates or 12 alkaloids. But the way our ancestors would express it is that these are 12 elders,
Right.
Mm.
Council.
and both masculine and feminine. So it's an androgynous, powerful um, being and spirit of medicine that is a conglomeration of ancestral energies. And there's a lot of psychedelics out there, there's a lot of entheogens out there, but there's only one holy medicine out there that I know of, and that's Aboga, which is why they
Mm.
call it the Aboga Tabernacle.
Right.
So it is the elder of all sacred plant medicines.
Is it even more elder than the Bufu Avalaris?
Yeah, I would say so, yes. Bufo
Okay.
is a little younger. Bufo is amazing. It's incredible. But Bufo, I would call it and consider it a gate stormer.
A gate stormer.
Yes,
Interesting.
because when we're going into the ancestral realm, or we're going into the heavenly realm, or these higher realms, but Bufo gets you there like very fast and in an instant. You're
Right.
literally storming the gates of heaven.
Right.
Aboga is a like mountain. In the
Okay.
Western world, they call it Mount Everest. In the African world, they call it Mount Kilimanjaro.
Kilimanjaro. Yeah, Kilimanjaro or the mountains of the moon.
Yes, so it's literally a Star Trek, and an Aboga ceremony can last 8 days.
Whoa.
A Bufo ceremony could last 30 minutes,
30 minutes,
Mhm.
right? Wow.
day and night.
Okay. I love
So
the
yeah,
perspective.
Aboga's definitely older, and then Aboga can stay in the human body up to 6 months or longer, according to the Bwiti, who are the stewards of that medicine. And
Mm.
you have to have a supreme level of intelligence for the human body to welcome you and allow you to stay that long. They normally say like the more toxic the substance, the quicker it
Yes.
leaves the body, because the
Yes.
body's like, I want you out of here. You got to go.
Right. It'll
And when
get
a
it out.
boga steps in the building, it's like, oh no, you family, come on through. Stay as long as you want. Oh, six
Right.
months? Okay, cool. Come through.
Right. Grandma stays with you for a while as well, correct?
Yes.
Six
Yeah,
Yes.
they
months.
say
Not that long though.
ayahuasca lives in your bones though. If
Oh,
you talk to a ayahuasca shaman, we say ayahuasca lives in your bones. So it'll move out your gut quickly. So the actual effects that you feel of ayahuasca, it'll move out in about 8 hours. Well, like you'll actually feel it in about 8 hours. It'll stay in your system for a couple of days, but in your bones is where the medicine, where the information lives, because it's not just about the and that's why they say a spirit, because it's not just about the substance in the drink that you take, it's the energy in it. So it's the energy that lasts within the body.
Indeed.
that's right.
Indeed. I'm gonna ask a rhetorical question. Let's say that I am an addict, right? Let's say that I have vices that are beyond my control. Let's say that I have a monkey on my back. Let's say that I have something that is quote unquote riding me and I don't know how to get it off of me. It is completely controlling me, like how parasites can control their host, right? If I were to tap in to grandpa, we're just going to call it Ebo, right? We want to be mindful of the sentinels that are out there in the algo. If I were to tap into the Ebo, right, what would it do to break this quote unquote addiction or vice that I have?
It's very interesting how this beautiful sacrament works. It actually is a time traveling medicine.
Mm,
So what it will do when you get deep enough on the medicine is it will take you into a remote viewing session of your life
Right.
and bring you into that space and time where you um, had been impacted in a way that caused you to make that turn or that decision. You go back to that
Mm,
crossroad and
right.
you review remotely with the psychic ability to rewrite your story and in turn rewrite your DNA and
Right.
unhook the synapses, the dopamine connection that caused that addiction to start. Make a different
Okay. So
choice.
neuroplasticity,
Yes.
we're basically rewire. It's quantum, like you said, because quantum mechanics teaches us that we can, everything is operating at once. Time is not linear; it is actual centrifugal, and we can affect our future by affecting our past.
I
So,
agree.
so this is
It's
a
not
time,
linear.
right? So this is a quantum trip that you're saying, a quantum operation where you can go and basically change certain trauma nodes or traumatic events that fractured us or put us into addiction or put us in a mode to where addiction became the offshoot of that, right? So the ebo is actually bringing us back to that trauma.
Yes, and it's at a somatic cellular level, but it's also dealing with the psychic energy in the quantum field and just even past life energy. It can get
Yeah.
that deep. And there
Wow.
is a crossover on Aboga as well, because I literally sat with the Bwiti a few months back, recently in February.
Yes.
Um, I went to Africa. First, I headed over to Ghana. Then I spent a few weeks in Gabon, and I sat with the Bwiti. And
Yes.
it is a very powerful initiation. They don't play, you know,
I know they
but
don't.
they take you out there, and you sit for days, and you eat the medicine until you actually break through. You know how you can break through on toad?
Yes.
There's a breakthrough on a boga,
Okay. Okay.
but it's a Star Trek. It's totally it's you're completely present and coherent,
Okay.
and once when you get there, it's I can't really go into too much of the depth of how powerful and it's very sacred, but there's a lot of magic that takes place as well.
Right. So for the record, this is an African plant, an African medicine.
Yeah, honestly I
Natively
believe it's what they were speaking to and depicting in the movie Black Panther.
with the
Actually,
flower.
yeah,
Yes,
the
and
flower
vibranium.
power.
And
Okay. And
vibranium, which a
oh,
lot
can
of
you
people
break
don't
that
speak
down?
of. Oh, absolutely. The thing about it is when you think about vibranium, right? It has the qualities of electromagnetic shock absorption.
Yes.
So when you would see Black Panther going and going up against his enemy and he would get struck, you would see his suit light up and the vibranium light up and
Charge
absorb
up.
the shock and then
Piezoelectric.
transmute it. Yeah,
Right.
and then he would use that, it would charge him up, and he would use that to, be able to fight his enemy and overcome his enemy. Aboga works in that same manner in everyday life where, and excuse my, but um
Hmm.
this, it works in the same manner where you are able to it strengthens and expands the electromagnetic field. So you are able to have a regulated nervous system enough to be able to absorb shock from everyday challenges and keep going without being taken out of a higher vibrational form and frequency.
So it's a shield like that. Okay.
Yes, like yeah, just
Mhm.
like
It's a
in Sonic, you
layer.
get that little white shield when you
Right.
know, yeah,
It's like a
it's that's what
layer.
it is.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. And a
Interesting.
lot of people have holes in their auric field, which is why this is how calamity happens. Because just like you have submarines or airplanes, all of these are reverse engineered technologies of the human body.
Right.
So you have to remain and maintain a perfect seal, basically,
Yes.
in order for your the elements not to consume you,
To
whether it's
consume you.
air or water. You would implode if you don't have that perfect seal. That seal on us is our auric field.
Right. So I was made aware of the dangers of everything in society going against our energy bodies, our what I would call our subtle energy bodies. and I did some deep diving, I did some research, and it brought me to, how our auric fields are being compromised by polyester, how our auric fields are being compromised by just, central air, what I mean, AC versus rolling out, opening the window, getting in a pool as opposed to getting in beach water, um, having a fan on. These are certain things that they were saying that it goes against. There's a volumetric reader, right? You could read the energy input through the volumetric reader and whatnot, and it was showing how there's like a chart. There's a chart that's negative and then it's positive, and it was showing all of the things that would induce the negative. But this is, in this sense, is negative ionospheres or negative ions, which is a positive, and then the positives are negative. um what would some of the practices that you would suggest that an everyday person can do to begin to repair the holes in their aura? I just want to add on before I do say that, because you were talking about the holes in the aura. It was told to me that people who have all of these attachments and they begin to have mental health breakdowns, schizophrenia, dementia, things of that nature, they're being attacked through their auric field. Their things are attaching to them because of the holes in their aura. It was told to me the pornography and other things induce they weaken your field, right? Blue light, being in front of the fake computer with that radiation, that also is beginning to tear people's fields down and whatnot.
Mhm.
So what are some of the things that you would suggest that brothers and sisters begin to do to strengthen their field?
I would say tools wise, like the first thing you have is your breath. You always have it anywhere you go. The first thing you have is your breath. Really
Yeah.
sitting with some breath work, some breathing exercises, some pranayama will strengthen your field immediately. Number one. Then my recommendation after that will always be yoga, because you have that wherever you go. You don't need to go buy yoga. You have yoga. You could do yoga wherever you are, wherever you are,
Yes.
whatever you have, you know. And then the other thing is, we're talking about all these things that are in the world, the lights, the 5G, the everything you just named, the blue light, the radiate, everything. And it's like, before you can go out and change the world, right? You can change yourself and what you're doing for yourself, right? So making sure you're getting the right vitamins, the right minerals that can protect your body, the antioxidants, having a clean diet, eating a lot of berries. It's real simple stuff that we know. But I will always say start with that breath, because the other thing is your ashe, your spirit, yourself is going to attract everything that you need, um, to be safe, everything you need to be protected. You're going to attract the crystals. You're going to have the crystals that you need to protect yourself from the 5G under your feet, in the ground under your feet, because
Right.
you are doing the breath and doing the things that is going to bring that there for you. So I would say have no fear of it. Just, be mindful.
Give thanks. Yes. Do you want to add
Okay.
on?
Amani
She
covered a
covered
lot.
it. Right,
But
right,
I
right.
will say this: there's a secret phrase that I feel is a linchpin to exposing this whole thing about these holes in the auric field, and how they hide so much stuff in the language. Well, this is an older language and expression, and remember in the beginning we were talking about the elements and how we are the elements, and
Yes.
whenever somebody's really sick, what do they say? A person is under the weather. What is
Yes.
the weather but the elements?
Right.
So you need to
Hmm.
raise the vibration of every element and keep up with the elements of your avatar, you know?
Mm,
So
okay.
fever is one of the most ancient technologies our body has in order to ward off illness, which is
Right.
why when we get so-called sick, we catch a fever. The body heats up as that Kundalini energy rising. The same thing with the Mother Earth. That's why they complain about global warming. So as above, so below,
Mm.
as
Mm,
within, so without.
right. Another thing I meant to ask you, is there a purge that takes place with the Igbo, similar to the same purge that Aya gives you?
Yes, there is, but you know, it's interesting you asked because me and Amani was just talking about this today, and I was telling her that it's of my belief and philosophy that the universe doesn't require you to suffer in order or struggle in order to prosper.
Yes.
So there's certain supplements, like I said, that I give to my clients and I recommend in order to elevate the vessel to a fifth dimensional state in order to be able to engage these medicines without having to go into such a deep purge and get further on the medicine.
Okay. Let me pull something up because you just sparked my. You reminded me of something.
But there
You
is an
reminded.
emotional, mental, spiritual purge as well. So don't get it twisted. Just because you're not throwing up don't mean you're not purging.
Right.
It's
Right.
levels and layers to purging, which is great, you know.
Which brings me
Oh.
to this image right here. I'm glad you brought. I'm glad you said what you said because it brought me to this image right here of you administering the rape. You know, I gotta let the R roll. The
That's how they say it in the jungle, right?
rape. Yeah, in the
That's
jungle they say
right.
the rape.
You know what? I
Um,
learned something when I was over in Gabon in Africa. And I
yes.
do you know the difference between the jungle and the forest?
The difference between the jungle and the forest. Please share that with me.
All my life I never really knew, but it's really no difference. It's just the term jungle is more of a colonized
Right.
phrase. The word
Right.
forest is like more of ancestral,
More
like more
ancestral.
reverence
Cause
based,
right, cause I was running around like,
indigenous.
yeah, I'm in the jungles at Colombia. There's like, fam, you in a rainforest. I was like, where?
Yes.
There's like you in a rainforest. I said, okay, I'm in the rainforest. So one of the things that will always stay with me forever is the first time I got hit with the rape and my brain got cooked,
Woo.
right? Um, it was almost like getting punched in the face, right? But it got instead of being punched in the face, I got punched in the brain because that powder or that substance it began to activate certain synapses behind my hippocampus. I was feeling things literally light up in my brain. It wasn't the most comfortable feeling because I did not know what I was being prepared. I wasn't prepared for it. Can you share with my audience and all of those that will watch afterwards what is the power of rape and what are you doing in this picture?
Yes. Rape, or sometimes called hape, is
Yes.
an ancestral tobacco. It is the most powerful tobacco on the planet. And this is the more ancient way that we used to partake in tobacco before we got introduced to this Western way of approaching tobacco, which is the cigarettes. So what they do in the forest is they grind up these leaves. They dry these leaves out. They grind them up. They have different medicinal properties. They bless it, pray over it, and then they make it into a very fine powder. You take a tool that they call I just had one, either a tepe or a curite, depending on if it's applied to yourself or applied to a person. This particular tool is both in one. So the tool that I was using was pretty much able to be applied to a person that I'm serving, but I could also bend the tool back and apply it to myself. So in this particular photo, I was serving her some Jaguar, I believe, which is one of my favorites blends. And what it does, there's a lot of minty ones too that I like to work with that gives you that cooling sensation. And you know, you pretty much just take the medicine, you know, you connect with the person, and then you bless the medicine, and then you serve the medicine to the person by blowing it up the nasal cavity. And as it goes up the nasal cavity, it goes in and it literally cleanses the crown, but it also grounds you. And this is something that's very important when we get up into these ceremonial spaces and we get up and we're really elevated in these elevated states. It's important to ground yourself at certain levels. And you notice this even in the movies, they show you a lot of oracles use tobacco to ground themselves. Like if you notice in the movie The Matrix, the oracle in the Matrix, she would constantly be talking to Neo and them, and she'd be smoking a cigarette. that was her way of grounding, because she's in the ether. She's already channeling from a very high place. So she's using the tobacco as a grounding mechanism. So that's what we're doing here with this. We're using it as a grounding mechanism. And it's also giving you a lot of clarity. There's different blends that do different things. Some of them work on the somatic cellular level better. Some work on a psychic level. You even have like a snake version of Hape that it activates the kundalini and heals the root chakra and all of that kind of stuff. So very powerful medicine. What goes in does come out, just like what goes up comes down. So eventually you let it sit, and then you eventually blow it out, and then you're good. It's a beautiful medicine though, very healing.
I'd like to add to what Ariel shared with us. It's very powerful, very powerful. And you do have different forms of rape, right? You have the one, they're mostly based with tobacco. Some are more grounding than others. You have some blends that will actually take you up higher. So if you're in your trip, it might take you to another realm or level. But majority of the time, they are grounding. But I wanted to speak on the elements, right? Because there's been a theme of the show. We've been talking about elements. The rape has we're really looking at the element of fire, earth, and air, right? But just to talk to fire and air, because so the rape is these herbs that are they're they're excuse me, they're burned into a fine ash, right? So it's a
Yes.
very thin powder that's going through the nose. So you're like encapsulating these herbs in fire, and then someone is blowing it into your nose. So you have this fire, this very strong fire energy, and this very strong air energy. And what it's doing is it's also helping to decalcify your third eye, right? So it's a precursor to doing your trips often, because it's helping prepare your mind. That's why he's like he felt like his mind was blown off, right? Because, or his brain blown out, because he's actually decalcifying your third eye, as then it drops into the gut and helps decalcify that gut brain as well, right? So you're opening online for different visions and so forth to happen. Another similar thing that we have, that's why when I said it's helping, like she said, strengthen your auric field. And when we're saying what can we do to remove these holes and to strengthen your auric field, you always have your breath as well, because majority, I feel like on the chat, these people in the chat, you guys know what fire breath is, right? Just like fire breathing. And so you have that heat and
Babies
you
love
have that
air
air.
breathing too.
Yes, they
Say it
do.
again. What'd you say, Ariel?
Babies automatically are tapped in. They just love doing the fire breaths.
You know?
They know.
You know? So that also to help decalcify your pineal. I always say it wrong. Pineal
Pineal.
gland.
Pineal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so just how you can work with the different elements with different things, whether it be with the medicine, whether it be with your breath. And then I wanted to add too, you're having fire and air that is helping to, like when we're talking about, she's talking about like parasitic issues, or like different things protruding into your auric field, because you can have holes in your auric field. You can also have like intrusions in your auric field. So when we do things like the rape that actually will help cleanse out your auric field, and you do things like sage to help cleanse out your auric field, right? You also can do the first, if anyone's familiar with like Hatha yoga flow, or even like in the Kemetic yoga flow, we have the sun salutation, or you also have the journey of Ra, right? Which is also another form of the sun salutation, the journey of the sun, and bringing that into your body. When you're doing rape, you're bringing fire, you're bringing the element of the sun into the body. When you do a sun salutation, you're bringing that energy into your body that helps speed up. Because like she said, when you have the flu or something like that, and your body is actually detoxifying itself, the kundalini energy is rising, right? You're
Right.
heating your body up. Same with when you do Kambo. I don't know if we spoke about Kambo, but Kambo is one that heats the body up to get anything that's not serving you out. So when you do your sun salutation, it's something so simple. You look up on YouTube's how to do a sun salutation. You do your sun salutation in 5 minutes. It heats your body up and it spins your chakras, right? It spins your chakras so that they can start moving and start removing anything in your auric field that doesn't belong there. Just
Cooking.
want to add
Right.
that.
Right. Man, that was yeah.
Oh, can I tell you one thing real quick
Of
too?
course.
Yeah.
This was at the psychedelic conference in Detroit, which is a women in entheogens conference that I typically like to attend every year, and maybe
Oh,
speak
Baba
and
Kalindi,
yeah, those
Baba
folks up
Kalindi's
there.
family. Yeah, I'm going
Yeah,
this year.
shout out to Mama
I
Ayana for
sure.
sure.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Shout out to
and
them.
this is a hummingbird blow, so I don't do that typical, just
Eh, eh, eh.
gangster blow. I give that gentle blow because it's a very powerful medicine enough as it is, and sometimes it's good to have that sacred feminine touch to it. When you give that soft, elongated blow that still gets the job done and still has a powerful effect.
I'm
Yes.
telling you, when Ariel serves you happy, you're surprised. Like I know for me, I'm bracing myself, waiting for that, and it's a very soft, very beautiful, very relaxing and grounding energy that I appreciate, Ariel.
Oh, thank you.
Cause
Shout
Mm-hmm.
out to
I'm
Chief Nighthawk. He kind of gave me a little bit of the inspiration to develop my hape blow in that manner. He's an ancestor now, but a very powerful
yes,
chief out
Rise,
of it.
Rise and Purpose, Chief Nighthawk. He actually helped to heal me
Mm.
in
I got chills.
2023 with the venom, with the snake venom and whatnot.
Okay.
Him and Dooley. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah. I
I
remember.
sat
That's
through I sat through I sat through three ceremonies.
okay.
I had a pinched nerve,
Mm,
and it was so bad that I mean they man it was it was I'm telling you it was doing me dirty. Um, but they went ahead and they got me right. You know what I'm saying? We did the snake venom, and literally about 2 days later, I couldn't even remember the pain. You know when the pain leaves you and you forgot that you had it. I did not.
yes.
I could
Mm-hmm.
not like because pain is is attached to a feeling. It's attached to a memory. That's why trauma is like a trauma is basically, it gets imprinted into our DNA. So it was like I was trying to recall the pain. I couldn't even pull it up. Couldn't recall it. It was gone.
Wow.
So yeah, the brother's very powerful, very, very powerful.
Yeah.
Ashe.
I miss that brother.
Yes, yes. And I do have rape trauma as well because like I went to Colombia and they didn't have the butterfly blower up there. You know what I'm talking about? My taita,
Oh,
the taita, you know what I'm saying? He, the first day I got there, it was almost like when you get an initiation, like they jump you in. It's like everybody line up, we doing a rape. I was like, I didn't dread it because I already did it before, but then it was like, damn, that's kind of early. I just got here, but whatever. And yeah, he hit me with that. I had to sit down for about 5 minutes. My brain was on fire,
whew.
because he was blowing. He wasn't. He was blowing it all in your nose. But
That make you sit down for a while. You don't
wow, it
need
made
that
me sick.
after a
My
long
whole
time.
brain was tingling. But like you
Mm-hmm.
said, it was activating. I could feel synapses. I could feel the neuroplasticity taking place. I could feel where it was calcified. That's the thing. You know what I mean? So it's like if you're willing to go through that type of, initial shock and whatnot, you're going to very much be very pleased with the results. Okay. You're going to be very pleased with the results. I want to ask this as well because it was told to me that the Ebo will break all vices. So from cigarettes all the way down to somebody being too lazy and non-motivated, all the way down to, people watching the corn, all the way down to all of these type of things that our people are picking up living in these quote unquote cities and living in just society, being a part of the matrix and whatnot. And it said that it breaks these addictions and these vices. Could we get a little more in detail as to is this what it does? Is that accurate?
I definitely could see that and agree because I have known Aboga to be a master teacher on nervous system regulation, which is where most of this stuff come from. When your nervous system is out of alignment, you
Yes.
begin to spiral downward, and things start to snowball into ailments, atrophies, and all kind of different challenges and addictions. And when you sit with the boga deep enough, it just continues to strengthen your nervous system and to realign your nervous system with that 0 point space that it was at before you went left.
So
So
it's a reset.
yes, it is a reset.
Factory reset?
I wouldn't necessarily say factory, but it brings you into a space that you're it's a holy medicine. So it makes you whole again.
Yes. Okay.
Ashe.
Mm. Okay. Makes you
Yeah.
whole
And
again.
it fills up those holes in your aura.
Right. That's important. That is
Uh,
important.
I would add to that though, so it has the ability to assist you in breaking those type of things. But nothing's going to actually get you over that hump but you. You have to be the one to want to do it. You have to actually make that active decision and choice. But the Ebo definitely has the ability to assist.
It's in a right. It's in a because I'm glad you brought that up, right? I'm glad that you brought that up because I found that there are misconceptions that have taken place in not just our community but all around, where there people are feeling like there's such a thing as a magic pill or a one size fits all type of remedy, or there's this philosopher's stone that somehow we could stumble upon that can fix everything with just one bite. You know what I mean? Can we quickly dispel the contradiction of what we would call microwavable spirit work that people are beginning to throw around, and reiterate what actual spirit work really is, or what the journey really is, similar to a yogi who takes a vow of not only celibacy, but a vow to basically sit in a lotus position through his pain. You know what I mean? Like the
Mm,
path to enlightenment and the path to spirituality, and also the path to clear your karma, is a path of suffering. It is a path of quote unquote a little bit of pain and whatnot. So can we just somewhat reset how people are looking at this journey, how people are looking at transformation? Because when I see a butterfly when I see a caterpillar go through the process of transforming into a butterfly, it is painstaking. It's not something that just happens overnight. So could we get into that?
I definitely would say that these sacred plant medicines and modalities, they're all teachers. They're just here to remind us of things that we forgot. And I will also say that wherever you go, there you are.
Ashe.
You can't run from who you
I
are. You
say,
have to have a conscious choice to transmute any energy that is holding you back and keeping you stagnant. And no plant, nothing can save you from that.
say
But
that
you
again, please.
No plant medicine can save you. Only you can save you. Ultimately, you have to make the choice and you have to choose to be in alignment with a higher version of yourself, ultimately.
What if somebody is running from themselves? What if somebody's lower self is actually their Freddy Krueger or their Jason Voorhees is trying to kill them? They're actively trying to take them out. What would you say to a person who is going through that?
There is no death. Death is just another word for transformation. So if it's trying to kill them, it's trying to evolve them.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
mm.
It's killing them in that lower state, in that lower form. So
Right,
sometimes you have to go so far left till you end up right.
right, right.
Ashe.
I
Yeah, no, that's
say,
perfect. Yeah, it's the journey of Haru, right? Everyone has gone through that or is going through that or will go through that feeling of their lower self trying to kill them.
Right.
Because like Ariel said, that's your transformation.
So it's almost like a boogeyman scenario where we're running from the shadow, and when the lights come on, it's really us the whole time, or a
Mm-hmm.
version of us.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I say. Okay. So I want to give my audience the opportunity to be heard. You know, I'm sure that there's some questions. They are loving the information. I just want to let you guys know that they're soaking it up. You know, they love the information. They're feeling the information. They are receiving the information. Um, so I want anybody that's in the audience to ask uh any question that you may have on your mind dealing with the transformation, dealing with alchemy, dealing with, you know, the angelic alchemy. I just want to make sure that we stay uh focused on topic. But yeah, shoot your questions and I will ask them. In the meantime, while we wait for that, I'll be the first one to ask one of the questions of you sisters. Um, what would you tell a person who has visions of themselves, can see their higher self, probably even dream of themselves in the higher of their higher self? They can actually see themselves in their higher form and whatnot, but they are afraid of heights and they are intimidated by greatness because of the programming that they have received through both the media, society, and maybe inside of their own households. Are there words of encouragement? Are there spiritual practices that can help somebody get into alignment?
I would honestly say that um, everything is coming back to the light body.
The
If
light.
you, yeah, if you lack courage and you lack the will to be able to get to a certain space or manifest a certain thing, that's dealing with solar plexus energy. So there's physical things you can do to feed the solar plexus, but there's also other things you can do to connect with the solar plexus, which is solar energy, the sun energy. If you notice, Aries energy is solar plexus energy. It's very fiery. It's very
Yeah.
like, you know, you can't tell the Aries what to do. They're gonna go get it. They're gonna make it happen. They're gonna then they don't fear nothing.
Yes, my son.
Yeah. You know, so that bravery and that boldness, you know, that they have a very strong solar plexus. You know, you have to strengthen that particular chakra that is dealing with that gate where you're having the challenges, because ultimately we're the guardians of our gates and we have several.
Right.
It may not be a solar plexus thing, it may be a crown chakra thing where, you know, you have something psychically going on that's a blockage in your mind. Like you might be an artist, you might be as powerful as one of the legends, but you have writer's block or something like that, you know.
Right. Right.
It might be a throat chakra thing where you have a blockage expressing yourself. So you got to get to the root of that particular chakra by working on your light body through certain meditative practices, like Amani said, pranayama, breath work, kriya yoga. I like to teach kriya yogas in my particular workshops, which, you know, they're retreats, but they're workshops the way I set it up, so that we give people the tools of transformation, not only from a supplemental standpoint and a plant-based standpoint, but a metaphysical standpoint, because it's two wings of a bird. You can't flap only one
Right.
wing in ascend. You have to flap both wings to ascend. So one wing is in the physical and the other is in the metaphysical,
Right.
you know, and that's dealing with being able to strengthen your psychic force. being able to do some of the most powerful meditations. I'm not going to get in too heavy into it, but just to paint a picture and give you an idea, an example of a meditation that could help edify you in these ways would be a meditation that requires you to focus on your breath, your posture, how you work the upper and lower dantian,
Right.
prayer, right? And
Yes.
doing it correctly, as well as a psychic envisioning and attunement. And there's a feminine and a masculine way of approaching that. The masculine way of approaching that is a projection, holding a certain vision. But the feminine way is just being in receptive mode and praying to the divine and saying, all I know is I know nothing. Most High, speak to me. Ancestors, speak to me.
Right.
Guides, speak to me. Pour into me, and just be in that receptive feminine mode without projecting anything. And these are the things you can do on a psychic level. You can envision certain chi balls. Maybe a ball of fire in one hand and a ball of ice in another hand. And growing those chi balls until they become so prominent in your psychic mind that your fire hand becomes hot and your ice hand becomes cold
Oh,
physically.
right.
This
Ashe.
is the work of the avatar, building up the strength of the avatar, which is the power that we naturally have, especially as melanated beings. But we have to get deep enough into our practices to be able to invoke these levels of energy. And it takes the space and time to be able to do that.
Indeed. Ashe. Thank you.
Mhm.
Amani, you have something?
Man,
We do
she,
have
she
questions. Don't worry, we got a lot of questions in the chat. So if you wanna, I could go right to the questions if you want me to.
yeah, I think she hit that on the head. I don't have nothing to add to
Ashe.
that.
No doubt. Ashe. All right, so we're gonna get into some of the questions in the audience. Our first question is, if I made love to my wife the night before she passed, do we have a link connecting us?
That's your wife. You have a link connecting you regardless.
I
But
say,
yeah,
Right.
what?
Yeah. Yeah. The bond is always there.
Ashe.
But maybe he's asking subconsciously, was that a ritual of some sort?
Right.
A departure ritual, which possibly could have been, definitely.
Right.
Because her spirit knew that was her time.
I should.
Right.
So,
Maybe a way for him to connect with her, possibly. He may want to
That
because if
one
he's
last time before
well,
they.
is there a way for him to connect now that she's an ancestor? Is there a proper practice or a proper exercise to where they could communicate outside of just the altar?
well, the Igbo is the ancestral root. You chew on the Igbo and you go to your altar and same with the mushrooms. The Igbo is a little bit different because it takes you to that ancestral realm. You chew on that and you speak to her in full conversations.
Right.
Ariel might be able to share more about that, but
Right.
No, you hit the nail on the head with that one, sis. That was good.
No doubt. So the next question is, how many times can someone receive rape or plant medicine?
That's actually a great question because of the fact that hape or rape is such a very strong, powerful tobacco. You really don't want to do it too much. I would limit
Mhm.
it to, if you're new, once a month. If you're
Right.
if you're a practitioner that's doing this, maybe once a week tops, because it can become addicting. Even
Mm.
plant medicine can become some of them can become addicting. And you don't want that, especially with the hot babe, because what can be a tool of transformation and healing can become a detriment if you're not careful and balanced in how you approach these medicines with reverence and respect.
and
Right.
everything isn't for everybody. Like we've talked about different plant medicines, but if you have like further questions of what's right for you, please reach out. Like for example, if you're pregnant, you should stay away from rape or hape. You should stay away from iboga. So not everything is for everybody as well.
But there is I don't necessarily believe in microdosing, but like therapeutic dosing with iboga, that's a really powerful experience to have, which a lot of times can go on for 5 to 7 days at a time, and then you take a break, and then you use your discernment and you connect
Right.
with your higher self, and you connect with the spirit of the medicine and see what aligns. Wait for those divine synchronicities to show up to say, "Up, it's that time again." You know what? There's a portal going on today, and I'm feeling this type of energy. I can feel, I can sense this is. I need to go ahead and make a shift, and I need to use a certain tool in order to help me with this transformation. It'll come to you.
Right. And on your website, do you have a way on both of you? Is there a way for anybody to come somewhat contact you? Is there like a, ask Archangel Ariel? Any, how they had ask Jeeves, ask a ninja? Is there like a portal? Is there a way for somebody, like, let's say that I have that question, I get up one day and I have that feeling that I want to go and do something, but I might not know what tool I may need, or what plant-based herb I may need, or what is the exact meditation or even the yoga pose. Is there a way for somebody to somewhat tap in and get that answer from you?
So both Ariel and I both have like our emails on our website. So if you go to if you go to thegodsrose.com, which is right under my name,
Yes.
my email is also thegodsrose@gmail.com. So you can always come directly and ask me a question. You can subscribe to the email list. You could find my email on the website and ask me a question. You could also go to Instagram. My Instagram is amani.india. And you can DM me and ask me a question. Same with Ariel. Ariel, if you want to speak to where they can ask you directly.
Sure. You can go to angelicalchemy.net. My email is ariel@angelicalchemy.net. You can also find me on Instagram at angelic_alchemy. And then on Facebook, Ariel Williams, which is an older account, so you can kind of find more information. If you want me to accept your friend request, just send me an inbox, because I don't always know who's who and who's coming to my page for what. But if you inbox me and let me know, then I can, because I have a lot of older content that you guys might find enjoyable. I talk a lot about DNA activation, a lot of different sciences, including the plant medicines and all of the different technologies that we need to be bringing back and tapping into in this timeline in order for us to be prosperous.
What are your thoughts on twin flames? Because you hear that a lot in this community. You my twin flame, twin. And this whole thing about ancestral, people who are together in different timelines or different lifetimes, or in different quantum realms and whatnot, and the rediscovery of all of these souls that are here. Because it feels like it feels like there's an outing taking place on this planet, where there are a lot of different timelines converging. Souls from different eras have come back, different epochs have reincarnated. So there's a lot of people that are rediscovering one another. What are your what is your I would ask you, what would the approach of somebody be in that situation, to whereas they don't come across as creepy, weird, and stalky, right? Because people can approach somebody and say, "You're my twin flame. I feel like we've been together," and that could send somebody into a complete panic mode. They'll block you. They'll put, you know what I mean? It could be a repellent rather than something that is considered to be attractive. So, is there a protocol? Is there certain steps that one would take to, even, because you know how they say, get advice, like if you get a diagnosis from one doctor, you should get three doctors to diagnosis before you actually say that this is, I'm going to receive it. So it's like, is there a way for somebody to actually go and get that reading from different places before they even say that to someone?
So I would say, like, I don't know the term, like the twin flame versus soulmate versus, but if you feel like there's that one person or people or however that you, because I would say this also for soul family, not just like a romantic relationship, but soul family. Like if you feel like there's somebody who you've were with before here, right before this physical reality,
Yeah.
right, it would be revealed to you through, like you said, multiple streams, through meditation. When you meditate, you'll see it. If you consume the ayahuasca, for me, that's that. Anyone in my life, my partner, my family, my soul family, like anyone who I find very dear to my life, when I consume the medicine, I see their spirit, and I see us in a realm of spirit before, in a realm of matter. When you
Right.
take the iboga, I see the same thing. I've seen us in different lifetimes. So you can uh, consume and get information from these plants. You can go into the Akashic records and see, and that is your multiple sources, right? That you're getting your information from,
Right.
um, and it shouldn't come off creepy if it's real. If you're
Right.
making it up, you know that you're making. If you're bullshitting yourself, you're bullshitting yourself, and it's not. It's gonna come off weird because it's not real. But if you know that it's real, then it's real for that person too.
Hmm. Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely agree with
Right.
Amani. I definitely feel that there's different layers that reveal themselves to you as divine synchronicities that should speak to you on a level where it allows you to feel safe and that this feels like a divine connection. You know, I can't stress this enough. Just look for the divine synchronicity to show up. Pray about it. Put what your intention is into the universe and allow space and time for those vibrations to come back in the form of people, places, and things that speak to you on that wavelength.
The one thing
Indeed.
I'll say is if it feels forced, it's not real.
Not
'Cause
real.
it'll be in harmony, it'll be in balance.
Mhm.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Question from the chat. Any tips for someone on mental health meds versus your natural healing methods? And they said, thanks, beautiful goddesses.
I can definitely speak to that. I would say um, when you're working with some of these plant medicines, you have to be very careful about mixing them with the Western medicines because they don't typically mesh. And especially things like iboga. Iboga is a very territorial medicine, and it will tell you up front, look, I'm good. I don't need any help. I know exactly what I'm doing.
Right.
So don't be trying to have no threesomes with me because I'm not that type of party.
Right. Don't be polygamous with the medicine, bro.
Mhm.
Yeah, and a lot of people do that. Like you say, it's a microwave society nowadays. So a lot of people they'll hop into the plant medicine and try to mix two, three medicines the first time and it's like, come on, you trying to run a train and ain't even on track. How would you feel as a woman if you went on a date with a man and then he show up with another woman and it's the first time y'all going on a date?
Right.
Right. Like you're not even warming it up, brother. Yeah, I
The
get it.
audacity.
The audacity.
Honor the medicine, give it time to get to know it for what it is. But you
Right.
definitely want to try to just work your way through the other side of it. You don't want to just go cold turkey necessarily, but then again, if you feel strong enough to do that, it may be something that you're capable of, but make sure you have the proper hydration and the proper supplementation before you just kind of get off of that stuff. Know what you're dealing with. Just get a consultation. I think it's more
Mm.
individual based than it is just a broad blanket statement across the board because everybody's dealing with a different situation and different challenges. And you don't know how long a person has been on the medicine. You don't know what their conditions are. You don't know what the combinations of other health issues that they're faced with. So it's important to get a consultation and get a screening before you work with these medicines so that you could be properly guided, especially from an ancestral perspective, somebody that has a really good scope on that, or even connecting with a pendulum yourself, and working with, because I think, we tend to look outside of ourselves a lot.
Yes.
And even if you're not a so-called oracle on that level or a high priestess, you can learn just by working with a pendulum Start there, because it's your own energy that is pinging off of in order to tell you yay or nay and which way to go or not.
Yeah, that part. I don't want anyone to feel discouraged. Like if you are on Western medicine, like I don't want you to feel discouraged to the point where you don't approach the plants and the plant technology. Just like Ariel said, just get some advice. Like we can't say to you without knowing your full situation. So just reach out and get some advice because it is possible, you know.
Yes, yes. Okay. Excellent. Next question. What can you do and or what is it when you feel disconnected from family and friends and feel stuck or rather being held back from just interacting with them? It drains you literally. That's the question.
That's a good question. I definitely have been challenged with that in a lot of my life times, in terms of just being feeling alienated, feeling like you don't have the support you need, or you can't have certain conversations. And I think it's important to place your energy where it's embraced,
Yes.
and just keep it light, keep it simple, connect with them on a level that they can appreciate and understand. Like even the Buddha, the Buddha, one thing about learning about the Buddha and the way that he would communicate when he would come into a space, um he would always just start off with like really good small talk. He didn't just go into like a deep heavy conversation.
Right.
I'm not really a small talk person. I'm very direct, but
Right.
I'm learning the finesse within the small talk, and being able to make jokes, and crack the ice, break the ice, so to
Break the
say.
ice. Right.
You see
Icebreaker.
what I mean? Right. And I think that, that is a level of finesse and a woo that you could use to be able to connect to somebody on a heart chakra level without putting too much on to that person that they may not be ready to engage you on, because everybody, it doesn't have the capacity to engage you in the way that you want to be engaged. So you place that energy where it's embraced and where people are more receptive to that. So you have your soul tribe and you have your family, and you connect with your soul tribe by emanating your vibration and being in your authenticity, and people will align with you when you choose to express yourself from that space.
So there's this thing going on. I'm so glad that we having this conversation because you brought up not being able to have conversations, not being able to connect, not being able to what we call go upstairs, right? So there's a lot of women who are like, I'm in my healing phase. I'm in my phase. What I'm saying? I'm out here dating and whatnot. And these men, they just not mature. They don't have emotional intelligence. They just can't keep up. I want to talk spirituality. They want to talk sports. They don't know how to go, and there's like a level of frustration that I'm hearing from the sistren and whatnot, because they're like, yo, the dating pool is horrible. Like the men can't match their wits. They're not healing, they're not manifesting. Um, what would you say to a situation such as that? Where women and men, I'm not going to just say it's the women, there are men that are like, yo, I can't find women that are vibrating at my frequency. I don't want to small talk on a date. I want to go in. I want to have these heart to hearts. I want to speak about the chakras and the ethers and everything. How could we alleviate this quote unquote issue that we're finding out that people are having, where there's a lack thereof on either side?
I think we should bring them together. I think, Red, we should start having more events where people that are on this certain frequency, like, can come together and connect. And, even
Right,
the church, like I said, the church had the congregation. Where's our congregation?
Right.
right,
That's
right.
beautifully said, Ariel. Because I was just thinking, like, where are you finding these men? Like, or where are you finding these women? Because there's a lot of beautiful men and beautiful women out here who are doing the work, who are single, who,
Right,
um, who want to meet each other and want to promote wellness and spirituality and well-being. So, Angel, I'm for that. Ariel, I'm for that.
right,
Mhm.
right.
You got to create the spaces where people can come through and be able to hold space for each other on that level in order for, us to be able to be even exposed. Because I don't think people get out enough, and they don't go to the right spaces and places, and they don't know the right places and spaces that will be able to accommodate their vibration.
So my $1 million question would be, does the healing come after or before?
It depends. That varies because we're all works in progress. I don't believe
Yes.
in a self-mastered person. You're self-mastering, but you're not fully mastered. We all
Right.
have work to do. So if you meet somebody on your vibrational match, they're on your vibrational match at that moment. That might
Right.
be that time, and you all might end up outgrowing each other at some point. But it varies, because we're all in different places and different spaces. You might have just come out of a bad situation financially, but your health is on point. Or
Yes.
somebody else might be in a polar thing, but you guys have a lot of similar thoughts and views, and a yin and a yang. You guys have certain attributes that are from different extremities that when you come together, it's a jigsaw puzzle, and you balance each other out, and that might work in that particular timeline at that moment.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, I
right.
think the thing
Okay.
with healing is you have to know if you're using that word healing as an excuse, or is that your actual reality? Is there actually a trauma that you need some time for, or is that just an excuse in your head for not achieving the thing that you want to achieve?
Okay. I like that. When you were bringing up, it immediately brought to mind a saying that I used to have called "People are together for seasons and reasons." And because we've been following Roman antics for so long, we've had this mentality. And it was me having children that broke me out of the detachment mode. I'm a Scorpio, so we are very quote unquote attached heavy, right? We feel like we own people. And having children taught me I don't own anything. I'm just I don't even own myself, and on this journey in life, seasons and reasons, we come into one another's lives similar to how the planets come into one another's circumference with the precession of the equinox, right? Aries is hanging out with Neptune, but they're gonna hang out maybe for 30 years. But what happens when they move on? You know, there was a season where they were together, locked in, but then as that season changes, then that connection or that procession changes as well. And then there's reasons that people come in your life. Like when I look at the dating shows and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna pop the balloon because I don't like the laces on his shoes. And I'm like, that person probably was in your life for a reason outside of you dating that person. You feel me? So that we're forsaking people who may be in our lives for reasons and seasons and whatnot. And it could be a good friend. It could be somebody that could bring, like you said, wealth to you or health to you. And it can be platonic. It doesn't have to be romantic, or it doesn't have to be someone who is a partner and whatnot. And I just feel that that mentality of seeing that is a little more, that's how I'm seeing things versus how I was grown up with Roman antics and whatnot, to whereas everything was so rigid and so quote unquote, Roman.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And every relationship don't necessarily have to be a romantic like relationship. It could be a partnership. It could be a life partner. It could be somebody that you might be doing business with it, and bringing coming together to help other people come together in a certain way that creates relationships for other people.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
I do agree.
But
A lot of
I
people are
also
caught
feel
up in
like
the
we're
root chakra.
seeing,
Mhm.
go ahead, say it again.
No, I said a lot of people are living in that root chakra, and they damage good connections because they're caught up in this lust vibration.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And does Ebo help with the lust vibration? Does it help rise people up from their root chakra where they may be actually stuck?
It does, but it's also an aphrodisiac. So it's going to give you the wisdom of like how to move with your root chakra energy in
Right.
alignment, not out of alignment, but you
Right.
will have that desire, but from a higher vibrational place.
Right. In a way, I'm meaning that you feel like you could just walk up to Janet Jackson and shoot your shot. Like, is that type of, does it give you that confidence? Are you saying it like that, or is it going to align you in your root chakra to whereas you'll see it from a different perspective?
You're
First,
just more, you're more, like I said, your nervous system's more regulated, so you're not doing things from a space of impulsivity.
okay, okay, going back to the nervous system. Excellent.
Yeah, it's helping you control that animal and that reptilian brain.
That reptilian brain. Right, right. Okay. Oh, Amani, you was saying something. I saw you was in
Um,
thought.
yeah, but that was a couple statements back. I'm not sure. I don't remember what I was gonna say.
So good. I'm gonna go ahead and ask another question. If you do remember, don't worry. Just let me know. You could. All right. So they want to know, how do I strengthen ancestral connection? Can we do that pouring libations, and would they render aid?
Well, yeah, pouring libations is a way to strengthen ancestral connection because you're giving ashe, you're giving water, you're giving that energy to your ancestor, and the more that you, because we've been disconnected with those practices, right? We've been taught to demonize ancestral veneration, which is really just venerating your own DNA. It's connecting with your own DNA. So when you're pouring libation to your ancestors and you're strengthening the water within yourself, you're strengthening your lineage, your DNA within your own self, and you're making this physical act. And it's the energy that you put in when you really feel, when you're pouring that libation and you really feel like I give ashe to my ancestor, I give ashe to this
Right.
person, right? So yeah, that's a way of connecting with your ancestor.
Indeed.
Mhm. Yeah, if I could add to that, I would say your ancestors live inside of you. It's in your DNA. So when you purify your blood and your DNA and you get your metabolism vibrating at a higher frequency, you naturally have a better access to your ancestors because you're connected to yourself on a deeper level because your blood is on a higher vibration, which is where they live in.
Wow. Wow. Strengthening, cleaning the blood, you know what I mean? Purifying the blood to have a clearer communication line to the ancestors. I love it. Okay, Peter wants to know, what is the time frame we should give those who've transitioned before we ask them to put in some work for us in the ancestral realm? I've heard and read different views and opinions.
I honestly feel like that is that kind of varies somewhat from soul to soul because you
Yeah.
have some people that check out in a very traumatic way and they need more work to be elevated. They might need a lot of psychopunk work in order to really get them out of the space that they may have been traveling through coming out of a situation. Or if they already were ascended master or something and you sent your ashe, you lit your candles, you did your work, you fed them, you want to at least give time and space for your offerings to be received, for your ashe and appreciation and elevated light to be received. And then from there, again, wait for that synchronicity, wait for pray, wait for some kind of sign that's being shown to you, like now it's time. They came back up, they show back around. Then you
Right.
can go ahead and have that conversation.
Just to add to that, that's very great, Ariel. Sorry, I had to put my camera off because my son woke up looking for some milk. So I think he actually might be answering this question because he is now latched on to me. So I'm speaking for him. But I would say too, in that time frame, whatever you feel the time frame is, where you feel like you have to ask if it's soon enough, then the question should not be when can they put in some work. At this point, during that time after they transitioned, it is your time to be doing the work for them, to be giving them ashe on on their transformation, to be giving them ashe as they're opening this powerful gateway into a whole nother realm. You know,
Yeah.
it's time to be lighting them candles. It's time to be putting them on your altar. It's time to be pouring libations for them daily.
Ashe. Ashe. Precious Mother Love wants to know which plants are okay if pregnant or nursing.
Mushrooms.
There's boomies, the shroom. Okay. Any particular
Hmm.
strain?
No, you know, I mean, some are going to be stronger than others, but they're all okay.
Okay. Excellent. Right. What is physical blindness a possible representation of?
That's an interesting question.
Hmm.
I definitely feel like the eyes are connected. And um on one hand, you could say it might be a blockage on the third eye, but then again, it could be to open up the third eye, because once you lose um,
Right.
one
That's
particular faculty, other
right.
faculties
Get
open up
strengthened.
to compensate. And yeah, they strengthen.
Yes, yes. Okay. All right, all right. Kafunya wants to know, can the info be placed in the chat? Yes, I will place the info for both of these goddesses in the chat so the family could reach out. Um, can the energy frequency fingerprint of the active ingredients in plant medicine be synthesized into a sound wave and applied to the body? Thank you. Interesting.
Mm. So it's a frequency, but you also have a spirit with a lot of these plants too. They have their own cognitive intelligence.
Right.
So when you when you synthesize even if you just take the frequency, like for example, like DMT lives at its own frequency. So you can get DMT from mushrooms, ayahuasca, bufo. You can get DMT from all three different plants, and so the DMT would be the frequency. But you will still have a different experience with each plant
Right.
because the plant has its own spirit.
Right. Okay. And I do want to bring up but go ahead. Do you have the answer?
For this question,
Yes.
it's a little complex. I'm not 100% sure on how to answer that, but I can say that when you're dealing with these plant medicines, there's always a joke people say, you don't take the mushroom take you. So
Mm, right. I
so
like
it
that.
literally is using your body to be a conduit to express itself through.
That's a fact.
And from there, then yes, it could do a multitude of things, um, in the sense of how it's actually expressing itself through you. You can express yourself through sound, you can express yourself through dance, all kind of things you can
All
do at
kind
that
of
point.
things.
This,
Right.
this is how they experience this reality, by integrating with us, coalescing with
Right.
our bodies.
Right.
But you know
Right.
what? I will say potentially yes. Like it wouldn't be the mushrooms, but if let's say that like it wouldn't be the plant itself, but you could potentially get the frequency of DMT into a wave. I believe, yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right. Excellent. Next question. Can you still connect to the ancestors through LSD?
Mm.
I don't know. Can you? It depends. It's an individual thing. Who am I to say what a person can connect to ancestrally and not through a medicine? I'm not.
Mm,
I'm not the author of all of this stuff. I'm just somebody experiencing these things. I can. What I can say though is that the Lucy is very good for speeding up the cognitive function, and they showed you that in the movie Lucy. That's what they were dealing with.
right. They also showed you that in Jacob's Ladder. You know. So
So
in
yeah, I mean,
Lucy, you
thinking
were
about
saying,
that, yeah, I would say yes when you think about it, because in the movie Lucy, everything, she was connected to everything.
And that she was on the LS.
I would say so because why would they name it Lucy?
Right, right, right,
I know they had some other stuff in there metaphorically, but you got a
right.
drug in your body and it's speeding up your intelligence and
Intelligence, right,
it's psychedelic and it's called Lucy and your name is called Lucy.
right.
All right.
Uh-huh. And what would you say Limitless was speaking of?
Ooh, I feel like it was a synthesis, but at the same time, Aboga's like that for sure.
Are you serious?
Aboga is yes, a very high. You know, I like to take Aboga and like just write up papers and create formulas. I even play poker on Aboga.
Wow.
I do
Okay.
very well.
Yeah. So it gives you laser focus.
Yeah, because you have to be stoic, you have to be present, you have to
Yes.
your system, your nervous system has to be regulated. You know, you
Yes.
think about it. You might be in a big hand, and then all of a sudden your heart get to beating out your chest. You
Right.
gonna be cool as a cucumber, very calm on a boga. Your heart not gonna beat out your chest like that.
Oh, nah, we going. You know they just opened a casino in Queens. I'm sending you a ticket tomorrow. We finna pull up.
I'm on the way. I'm on the
We gonna
way.
pull up
But
on Nas
meet me,
Casino dressed like
meet me in Vegas for the WSOPs starting
okay.
the end of this
Oh,
month.
you playing big hands? All right.
Oh, I
That's
play for real. Yeah, I love it.
beautiful. That's what's up.
It's a spiritual game too. You know, you can learn a lot from that game because it shows you different layers of your conscious, your subconscious, your ego versus your higher self, your logic mind versus your intuition and when to
Right.
hold it and when, you know, all of that.
It's like you being in a dojo. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you got to sharpen your sword somehow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, salute to that. Let's go. We got a few more questions. We yo, if this episode is a classic, y'all, let me get some emojis in the chat. Y'all a little too cool for me right now, man. I need y'all to turn up. Let these sisters know what they came here tonight and did, man. This is powerful, bro. This is powerful. But we hitting the 2 hour mark. I ain't gonna keep y'all forever because I do know that y'all have things to do. Let us know what is going on in Jacksonville. Let us know what is going down in Jacksonville the first week of May, the first weekend or the first strong end of May, and let the family know what's taking place, please.
Oh man, it's gonna be beautiful. We have the what you call the Sacred Heart medicine, of course. I'm learning. See, Red, I'm learning now. And yeah, we're gonna, you know, take a few legs up the mountain, right?
Okay.
So kind of basically what we want to do is just give that experience for people to come in and really go deep and use some of the inspiration from the Bwiti, which those are our cousins. They're
Yes.
not us, so we don't have to do the things that they do, but we're going to do our thing from our perspective and channel our galactic powers and ancestral energies and bring in our way of holding space with that medicine, you know. So we'll be serving some really powerful, beautiful plant-based food that's nutritious and very fatty, and it's going to carry us through this journey,
Yes.
working with the mushrooms, a little microdose to kind of kill a little time while we take a break and let the medicine settle into the body over the course of these days. We're going to do some workshops where we're going to be doing yoga. Of course, Amani is a yogini. We have some sound uh, musicians, some ceremonial musicians coming through playing different instruments. You know, we're gonna work with
Did
the
you
boots
redo?
music as well. Yeah, like stuff like that. The flutes, the guitar, the drums, of course. There's a really powerful instrument that I'm going to introduce that is called a sound wand, and it's basically like a wind wand. It's kind of like the didgeridoo, but you know, you wave it through the air and it creates a beautiful sound
Mm.
just off the
Wow.
wind. So, working with, you know, different rattles and maracas and stuff like that. But we're also going to tap into some fire talk alchemy. We're going to do some inner child work, maybe do some paint and sip type stuff.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, just a lot of different things to connect and just be able to tap deep into the medicine without any fear, and receive message from the ancestors and come back and integrate that in a way that actually serves and can move us forward in everyday life.
So, unfortunately for the family and the audience, this one right here is sold out. Uh, it was told to me, I apologize. I was trying to get here. I was trying to get to y'all earlier, but the tickets sold out. They went fast, and as y'all could see, I'm sure they don't. I don't know what the capacity is, but we definitely know when it comes to ceremony, it is a certain amount that people can hold on to of people and energy. We will be letting you know immediately as to when the next ceremony does happen, and when it happens, we will let you know ahead of time. I'm sure that the KT aliens will be rushing the we're gonna treat this like a Jay-Z concert at Yankee Stadium and grab them tickets in a few minutes, sell it out real quick. We're gonna skip the line, and yeah, we know other people need it, but we need to get in on this. So yeah, I definitely look forward to holding space and being there and being present, and I'm on a journey this year. I'm very active in my healing and in my journey and in my transformation and my growth and development. I made a conscious decision when I turned 50 that I'm going to resurrect a new life and a second lifetime, similar to how Dr. Sabi would say that he lived two lives. It was Alfredo Bowman, and then it was the Dr. Sabi cycle. So I look forward to doing the same.
Oh yeah,
Being,
Dr. Sabi, he was big on the boga too,
yes,
if
he
you
was.
remember.
He was very big on the boga. He spoke of it highly, and he he was able to administer it to so many people that he came across. I wasn't able to get that from him, but I remember the day that he handed me a zip of some shrooms when I
Oh
was
wow.
acting, yeah, and I needed it because I was a little out of my mind. And this was like in 2001, and I went home and I watched the animated movie called Final Fantasy. It was a video game, and then they turned it into a movie, and in the movie it's mixed medium. It's like humans and CGI. When I tell you, I popped those and I was watching it, I was crying like a baby touching the screen because I was so amazed at the art. Like, you know what I mean? At what I was seeing. I was just tears rolling down my eyes like a waterfall, and it was just like the next day my brain felt like it was healthier. I felt better. I felt healed. I felt more focused, and it's been a journey. It's been a journey ever since. My brother KT got it at 5. So I want to know, what would your suggestions for the parents that are out there who have little ones, who have star seeds? Is there an age limit to quote unquote medicine? Is there an age limit to quote unquote the vegetables or the plants?
I'm gonna let Amani answer that because she got a newborn and she's been working with the plant medicine with her beautiful new soul that has entered this room. Is she on a mute?
Oh, you on mute?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. I'd say there's no age limit on the medicines. I mean, there's certain ones that definitely like the purple heart plant, the Evo that we've been talking about, that one. I mean,
Right.
there's a point of maturity that I would wait to give that to a child. Um same with the mushrooms, like there's certain doses that I, of course, would not give a child. So and you know your child better than anyone else knows your child. So no one else can tell you
Yes.
how much your child is ready for. But you take the medicine first, and you understand it, and that would give you the answer to what your child could have.
Okay. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful answer. Thank you so much. I heard from a little birdie, Miss Archangel Ariel, that you are the one who made that pen. You know what I'm talking about. Wow. That's all I gotta
One of-
say. And
yeah, one of many of my alchemies, and that's from my fifth dimensional medicine cabinet. I have two medicine cabinets, which is what I consider, my work, my alchemy.
your work,
I
right,
have
your alchemy.
the PRR system, which is a plasma regeneration regimen system, and then I have the fifth dimensional medicine cabinet, which is the soul food menu,
Right.
food for the soul, which is the sacred medicine menu. So
Mm.
yeah, so that's from that particular menu. Shout out to the brother Tehran, shout out to that God for connecting us. I know I met with you in the past years ago. I think we spoke over the phone like years ago. But Tehran, thank you for connecting us once again. That brother's powerful, and yeah, he swore by the pins too. What was your experience? Talk about that.
Oh man. Hold on. Let me see something. Let me see. I could say it better than I could show you better than I could tell you. Okay. So this is me after the youth in
ceremony.
America dying on the benches, dying in the trenches, dying with the wrenches in hand, dying with the hammers on waist. What a waste, what a face when you saw him in the mall, looking like the ball, lifeless, priceless. What happened to Jesus Christ when he lost his life bet? They died for the sinners. Grammy night, I was with Delroy, we arrived for the sinners. And I'm talking about golden forks on GitHub. I arrived for the dinner. Huh? Bearskin, sheepskins, chinchillas. I arrived for the winner.
That's the name of this song.
Huh? Tahuti, Anubis, and Pooh. I arrived for a mentor.
Hey,
Hey.
I could see the power of your auric field and the energy that you're standing in is very
Right.
immense. Like your aura feels extremely potent and strong.
When you talk about omnipotency, right? So
Yes.
when I hit that pen, the level of omnipotency that I felt was unbelievable. Even there was a point where I was told, I think Amani was there, and I was like, yo, I remember.
Mm.
Even though it was a brief time, a brief window, I said they tried to I said they almost got me, yo. They almost got me. They almost got me because I didn't remember. And I remembered. I said that specifically to her. I said they almost had me forgetting who I was, but all I needed to do was see that it just a little window of remembrance, and then I went right back to sleep.
Mm.
You know,
Wow. I'm
so
glad you had that resurrection. That's what the ceremony we're doing coming up is called the resurrection experience.
right. It brought me back to who I really was, for even if it was for a brief moment. You can't take that away from me because I remembered. You know what I mean? Like I was fully aware. I was fully in my God self. You
I
know,
could tell.
yeah, I was tapped in, and it felt great. You know what I'm saying? To the point where I was like, "Give me the pen again." It was like,
That's the big boy. That ain't, that's not for rookies though. That's if you've been working with the sacred plant medicines for a while and you're ready for something next level and you have respect and reverence for these medicines and you handle it with care. That's when we can offer you that type of
right.
beautiful
You see,
tool.
the thing on this scene is crazy is that I'm not a freestyler.
Really?
That's
Wow.
not my. I don't freestyle. I'm a
Wow.
I'm a writer. I write. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
you was flowing.
He was
I
freestyling for
don't
like an
flow
hour
like that.
straight.
I'm not a flower. I'm not like one of my teachers, Kambada. He goes off the top. He's just but I don't do that. I'm a writer, you know what I mean? But I came out of that and I was just going. I was no writing. I was tapped into the sun and it was just flowing in me. So
Mm.
that's when I knew. I was like, you know, I can't have that pen in the house because I'll probably hit that shit every day. You know what I mean? But it definitely, and for anybody that's asking, it's the DMT pen.
It's
And
the 5 pin. It's the
it's
five
the
and
yeah, it's the Bufo pen. And
yes.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And a lot of people don't know the difference between the NN, which is like the traditional D pin
right.
or D period, and then the five. The traditional, the classic is third eye chakra medicine, which is why you get a lot of visuals. But the five, the bufo, is crown chakra energy. That's where it becomes more of like a whole body
A whole
experience.
body. So there's the God molecule and there's the spirit molecule. So
Hmm.
the God molecule was the straight DM, and then the spirit is the toad, is the 5-MeO.
Hmm.
And man, the downloads that I was getting, I'm still getting it to this day. But it was very, very powerful. I think I might have did 3 hits, 3 different things that day. But
Mm.
I'm just, I'm just so ready. You know what I mean? It's just my determination to tap in. But yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, powerful, very powerful.
It kind of made me think back to that question someone asked about getting the frequency of one of the plants. Because Ariel, that's basically you got the frequency of the bufo. Because if the five isn't bufo itself, it's she got the frequency of the bufo, captured it into a crystalline state, so that you can then inhale it from a pen. That's alchemy right there.
Yeah.
I just say to everybody, you have not really experienced this state of being until you truly wake up. And it showed me that this is the sleep state. And whenever we tap in, we're in a wake state. And it also showed me something too. I have a video, I'm gonna edit it and put it up. But what I really came to the conclusion was that the sun is our pupil and the
Mhm.
sun is the aperture, right? So your pupil is this, the sun is a black dot, right? But that light that we're seeing, we're perceiving it as the sun. But when I was able to stare right into the sun, I'm looking at the black dot and I'm like, wait, that's the pupil. And and what I found out working with cameras is the aperture is able to open up and let the light in. So the more that you're awakened, the more your pupil is going to open up, and the more light you'll be able to receive and whatnot. And that's going to allow you to see things for what it is versus for what it's not. Because I'm literally on the 5, I'm looking at the leaves and I'm seeing the shit in technicolor. Like I'm talking about, I'm seeing colors that I haven't seen before. It was like
Mm.
it was like 8K, you know what I mean? Like 4K, 8K. And I'm like, yeah, we're inside of the firmament, but we're literally inside of, like, let's say that the pupil, let's say that we're like a petri dish or a harness. Like computers, they talk about the harness, like, there's a harness that puts the technology inside of it. We're inside of a harness, and that pupil or that dot is the same thing that we have in our eyes, our aperture. And the aperture in our eyes dilates, it opens and it closes based off of the amount of light that's coming inside of it. But the amount of light that's coming inside of your eye depends on your consciousness and whatnot. Your consciousness will open up the aperture,
Is that like the 0 point?
basically. Yeah. So that was the download that I got. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. Did you
Yeah.
did you hear the motorcycles go off? Did you see the animals wake up and greet you?
Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because it's like they all exist in this higher dimension, like this fifth dimension or higher. And when we get up to that state and we wake up, they're like, "Welcome home. We've been waiting
That's what
on
I'm
you."
saying. We're not in our higher state. The animals are vibrating over us.
Higher
And
than us.
only when you rise up to their frequency will they acknowledge you and be
Acknowledge you.
like, yeah, oh, you on the second floor now? What's up? But
Yeah, and
we're we're
they be like so happy to see us because they miss us. They kind of really sad that we're not there.
we're a big bug. We're bigger than the bugs, but our
Mhm.
frequency is not
It's lower.
allowing us to even communicate with them. Their frequencies
Mhm.
are above ours.
That's why they actually kind of like low key afraid of us. Like you can't approach an animal most of the time in this state without them running the opposite direction. But when you're in that state, you can lure them and you can actually even hold a bird in your hand. Like they'll
Oh,
trust
they'll
you
land on
because
you. Yeah.
Mhm.
Butterflies, ladybugs, they will descend and come see you. You know what I mean? So my mentality is, that waking state that I felt, I need to get there and stay there without the pen. The
Right.
pen boosted me and got me into that and showed me, but it's saying catch up. You know what I mean? Catch up to you. You got a glimpse of who you really, that omnipotent, omnipresenceness, the one. Now you need to walk towards that.
But this is why if you're not really talking about DNA activation, what are you really talking about? Because that's where the focus should be.
Facts. Facts.
Till you activate your DNA, you're not gonna be in that higher state.
Mm. Well, I'm here for it. You feel me? Like the young people, I'm here for it. You know what I mean? Take me through there. I'm ready. So
We live there. I'm a Pisces. That's where we. That's the
that's
crib
where
for
y'all
us.
live, huh? Dope,
Yeah.
dope. That's what's up. Kafunya said, cats, dogs, bees, and dolphins visit me, even baby. I already know, Kafunya, your energy is definitely one of those attracting energies. I could see dolphins
Mhm.
pulling up and having a fireside chat with you. You got that mama energy, the big mama
Mhm.
energy. So
And them ancestors too. The dolphins
yes,
represent the ancestors for sure.
yes, indeed. So I want to. We already went across a 2 hour line. I would love for you and our good sister Amani to leave the family with I would say just speak from the heart. Just give him that word. You know what I'm saying? I can't even I'm at a loss for words to even tell you what to tell them because it's like, nah, it's share with them what you feel that you need to share with them.
This is our time. This is
Yes.
our time. We just need to tap in, choose to remember, elevate ourselves, and we cannot lose. This is our land. This is our time. And, here we are. Love yourself.
The Ashe.
Ashe,
Receive.
Ashe. Um, I mean, really, all I can do is second that. We are we are here. We are here, and
Yes.
that's
Oh, look
yeah.
at look at the cheeks of the baby.
They will be in
Oh
ceremony.
man.
We're excited to meet you all.
It's so precious. And well fed, I must say. Look at them
Oh yeah,
cheeks. Lord
oh
have
yeah,
mercy.
oh yeah. But I gotta put this little man to bed, so I gotta turn these lights off.
No
Uh,
doubt.
it was so great being on here and chatting with you all, and anyone who's in the chat, anyone who's been watching or is watching later in the future, man, I really hope you all reach out because it really is a connection that we're creating that's like unmatchable. They say we're only as strong as your weakest link, right? And
Yes.
I believe we're all linked up, and the weak links aren't from anyone being weak. It's just a weakened connection. It's not that any one person is weak. It's the connection is is weak
I
there. So
like that.
we want
Yes.
everyone to reach out so we can strengthen those connections with each other.
Ashe. I received that. So we have a moon in Scorpio, I believe, tonight. And that is the perfect setting for the conversation that we had. Scorpio being the sign that goes deep. It's the investigative sign. It's the sign of mystery. It is the sign of Pluto and Mars. It is very complementary for the conversations that we're having. I've said to people on many occasions, while they talk about Elon Musk and all of these erroneous travels to the moon and things of that nature, the real space travel is the travel within. Okay, that is the real space program. Dr. Kalindi Aya, he came on. Baba Kalindi E. He came on Know the Ledge Radio. I would say in 2012. When he came with the heroic dose and KT
Another
the Arch.
fellow.
She went out for a second, but I'm sure
Went
she's
out
going to
for
say another
yes,
fellow
definitely.
second now.
Yeah, there you go. That's how you know the energy is powerful. Is it ANGELICALCHEMY.com?
.net.
.net. Okay. Let me write that. Angelic. .net. All right. So here's the website, ladies and gentlemen. While we wait for our sister to come back, make yourselves familiar. You could take a screenshot or you could go and check it out. Definitely tap in with the goddesses and let them know, just let them know that you tapped in with them over here or Know the Ledge. And yeah, we'll take it like that. Okay.
All right, I appreciate you, Ray. This was great.
Yes, likewise. Thank you so much.
Everyone have a great
Yes, this was powerful. I was gonna do the news and we landing this plane. We going home after this, y'all. I see y'all tomorrow in the rising. I'm gonna let this marinate. I gotta go ahead and meditate on this. We don't want to do sensory overload. You feel me? So this was a solid message, a solid download, and we just gonna leave it at that. We're gonna leave it at that. Will this session be available for replay? This right here, yeah, inshallah. This will be available for replay. Indeed. As soon as we're finished, you'll be able to rewatch it. It's gonna be available. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitch, and I'm on YouTube right now. So we everywhere. Okay. The other page will be back next Monday. Know the Legend 444. They got us on a little bit of shadow ban, but we'll be back next Monday, and we'll be doing Saturday Night Live, Sacrilegious Sunday, and Friday we have class for Imaginarium, but we will get an early show on YouTube in as well. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you all. Let's give it a few minutes to see if the good sister comes back. If not, then we will definitely have her back on the show. You already know that this is just an introduction. This is just an introduction. So thank you all for your energy that was in the chat, everybody that was holding space. Very, very solid. I appreciate everybody's energy. We could feel it through the computer. Great questions, just great responses and whatnot. Salute to everybody. You dig? And yeah, with that being said, we're gonna get up out of here, you know. We're gonna get up out of here. Y'all stay dangerous, and we'll see you soon. Peace, love, and light.
Can't beat us, join us, please bring your coinage. We sink 3-pointers, money shots, all net, all vets. Bumps we not, jet skiing in them sunny spots. With women edible like gummy drops. Dummy stop, dummy stop. No weapon form can intercept a storm. Once my intellect is on, I'm projecting on magnetic fields. And interact with blacks with athletic bills. I'm all about growth and development like residents of Ebbets Fields. Not to choose between woo and chew. We wanna line them colors up like a Rubik's Cube. And fade to black, yeah, the truest hue. When you say the black man is God, who you alluded to? The usual, Clarence 13X, a worthy guess. The words expressed come from the word in flesh. Elijah M, the NOI versus Leviathan. Messiah sent from the heavenly branches. 7 P's from since G-Dub cut down the cherry tree. In the wilderness of North Mex, and we flossing death and forced aggression, or forced perception, forced protection, or forced confessions. It's all a lesson. The sorcerers from Corsica, killer tonics, sticks and drums like the Philharmonic Orchestra. You niggas still playing harmonicas from officers. Fabric softener, jive turkeys popping 5 perkies, playing with keys, the Scotch stores type. For that soft white, we could've caught life, just being forthright. First class on my 4th flight, popping out like Fortnite. Every night we lit like Porsche lights. The meek shall inherit the earth, oh yeah, the scorched type. And these niggas, they some hoes in these streets. Me, I'm 10 toes in these streets. They lost their souls, niggas got holes in their feet. Shit, I'm just worried about the craft and how to perfect it. Not worried about the craft, yeah, that's out of perspectives. Focus on the chip like I'm Robert Kraft, and then how to protect it. It's the waves of the oceans. Get to the money, nigga, save your emotion. Descendant of the slaves in the graves in the oceans. Mastermind that the waves is in motions. These niggas, they addicted to the folly, addicted to that molly. Making me a movie, them sticks made of holly. I'm Dr. Manhattan, sitting on top of Manhattan. When I get all 5 rings, snap my fingers and pop up on satin. Dressed in all black, yeah, drop top the Phantom. Blast.
Crumb TV.